Hi class, today we're going to learn how to make artwork with CSS and div tags. So we're going to do very little with HTML, and we'll have a lot of HTML lines of code, and most of our work is going to be done with CSS. This assignment may take a little bit of time, depending on how much you guys want to invest in it, is how much time you're going to get. I'm going to first show you work of arts by other people who have gone through this activity. This first batch, they are all from students from last year, and I will just click on them right now so you can see. So this was a rainbow with clouds, a pride flag, Mickey Mouse, Minion, Mario, a frog, an elephant, gumball, BB-8, and an iPhone front and back. That's what students handed in last year for their assignments. Here's some professional work done, and I have links to all of this in your assignment, but this was done using the same techniques that you're going to be shown here. These professionals use a lot of shading. You can go to the links and explore, but these made website news because this is beyond exceptional work. And they even go in and explain how they make this stuff if you want to get that into it. If you do decide that this is something that you want to really dive in, I am definitely happy to lead you through some more intense pieces of work. So here's one that's it's a coffee cup. I just picked a couple of. Oh, that's the same one. Here's a lighthouse. And something like this is definitely not beyond the students in this classroom once you get started. Back to the professional stuff, you can spend your own time looking through different works of art that people have done. I keep going back to that coffee mug. Here's Pokemon. And again, this is definitely something that you'd be able to do. So let me get to where you'll be working. So I have given you a template, and so you start off with the index, and it's connected to a style sheet already. It's just called div art. You can title it whatever you'd like, and it's got one div tag in it. Inside of the CSS, I just made a background color, and I made it blue. I may change that in this demo. And then I said what my div tag looks like. And if I look at my HTML, I get a thing that says moon, and it's a blue screen. So what I'd like to do first is I'd like to make the moon a round object in a sky. So you're going to see that all of my div tags have something called an ID on them, and that's called a parameter, and they're all going to label what they are. So this first thing is a moon. So I'm going to come to Art CSS, and I don't really need to mess with anything except for possibly the overall background color. But if I have an ID, I can say pound moon, and now I can affect the moon. And so I'm going to move it around. So I'm asking you to use VW for your unit of measurement. VW is the width of the screen. So 100 VW would be the entire width of the screen. 50 VW would be 50% of the width of the screen. And I want you to use that for your height and for your width, just for consistency among all students. And so I would say, first thing I want to do is I want to make my background color for my moon to be yellow, because moon, a cartoon moon, is very often yellow. You could also make it white, but I'm making a cartoon moon. And so now I just made that yellow. And I do want it to say moon inside a moon, just so I know what I'm working on. And I'm going to move it down off of the edge a little bit. And so my top, I'm going to say, is maybe 15 VW. And my left is going to be 15 VW. And so that's saying that the left edge is 15% of the way in from the left side of the screen, and the top is the same amount in. So that puts it here. I actually kind of want to put it over here. So the width of the screen is 100, so I'm going to put it like 85, and then I'm going to maybe make it 5 for the top. So I'm going to try 85 and 5. So top is 5, left is 85. There, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'd like to make the moon round. And so I've put in the div tag most of the things that you're going to want to use by default. There are other attributes you can affect, but I'm going to right now say the border radius. And I'm going to say that's 100%. It's about as round as you can make it. And now when I hit refresh, I've got a round moon. Now I want to carve out a piece of the moon. And in order to carve out a piece of the moon, I need to add another div tag. I'm going to call that shadow. And I'll label it shadow. And I definitely want you to put the text inside of the ID. Eventually we will get rid of that text. But now the shadow is going to be just like the moon. So I'm going to copy the moon straight up. Call it shadow. I'm going to make it blue because the sky is blue. And now if I hit refresh, I've got the shadow right over the moon. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the shadow just a little bit over so that it's not covering the entire moon. So instead of left being 85, I'll try left. I'll see what it looks like at 90. Refresh. And so 90 goes way too far over. Because my, actually, you know what? I'm going to give it a width of 10 VWs, just so I know what I'm working with, and a height of the same. Let's see what I've done here. Okay, so it's bigger now. Now I need to make the shadow bigger. I'm going to make the shadow the same size, but remember the shadow is shifted over, and this might make a nice looking moon. Okay, and it's close. I think I'm going to bring the shadow in a little bit more. So instead of left being 90, it can't be 85 because that's what the moon was. So I'm going to say like 87. See what happens here. Okay, now I've got a moon. And ultimately, we are going to come into our art.css, and you're going to see these borders all over the place. I'm going to comment them out. It's the top 3 things, just so I can see what it would look like without borders. And now I can see that moon. Now, the text I can also, and I'm showing you what you can do. What I can do is I can say color is transparent. And so the div tag, everything's a div tag. So now all of my text is going to be transparent. And so that's what my picture looks like. Now, I want the text to not be transparent to start, so I'm going to comment that out. Because I want to be able to see where things are when I'm moving them around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a whole bunch of stars. And I'm going to call them all star, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll make like 9 stars. One through 9. So I'm going to come back to art.css. I'm going to say pound star 1. And that background, I'm going to actually just copy the entire moon piece. And then I'm going to modify it. I want the stars to be white. The top and left I don't care about right now, but I'm going to make them much smaller. So I'm going to make them 0.5 VWs. And then the top and the left are going to be the main things that are going to change. So I'm going to make the left 17, just to see where that puts it. Come back, refresh. and there's a star. And so now what I'm going to just do, I'm going to copy star 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there are many ways we can do this. This is nice and simple. And I'm going to mess with the coordinates. I want everything except for the top and the left to be the same. All my stars are going to be about the same. I might make one or two a little smaller or bigger. And I'm just kind of giving them different coordinates here. Hopefully I'm varying them enough. And now I need to label them star 1, star 2, star 3, star 4, star 5, star 6, star 7, star 8, and star 9. And let me make this one 0.3, be a little smaller. This one 0.2 and 0.2. I want them to be circles, so these have to be. I think this one also 0.2, 0.2. And let's see how starry our night has gotten. So I want to move these that I've moved a little too far down. I want to move them up a little higher because I do want to have ground eventually. So the ones that have the top that are like over 50, let me bring those tops up a little bit. So I just need to find them. So this top was 75. Yeah, let me make that 15. This top was 51. I'm going to make it 41. 20, 50, 22, 5, 15. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's doing a little better. That star, I've got that one star in that lower right corner. Where is that top? 50, let's make it 30. Okay, so that's better. And then I'm just going to resize to see what happens. They resize. And so that looks pretty good. This one down here, actually, I'm going to move that last one, move that into the upper left corner. So whatever the highest top is, the biggest top. So I've got a 30, I think it's this 31. So I'm going to move it to 10, and we'll say 13. I don't know if that wasn't the farthest one down. I do like where that one went. That one that's still too far down, 47, there it is. Let's make that 22. Nope, I still haven't gotten that one. So that 40, top 15, top 41. I'll give that top 31. And refresh, and there we go. So now I'm going to lay out a ground. And so the ground, come back to index. I need another div tag, and I will call it ground. And I will put ground inside the div tag. And if I hit refresh, I just get a green box. What I want to do is I'm going to make it flat across the bottom. So it's called ground, so I can go to my art.css, do pound ground, and I'm going to say I want the left to be at 0. I want the top to be, I'll say 50. No, let's say 60. The width is going to be all the way across the screen. And the height I want to be really tall, so if I make it really narrow, it keeps going. So I'm going to say it's like 1,000. And then I'm going to hit the refresh button, and there's my ground. And so if I narrow, I see my ground. And I don't like these scroll bars here, so I'm going to come back to here. And in the body, I'm going to say X overflow. X overflow. X overflow CSS overflow X. So I just Googled because I couldn't remember. So overflow X, I'm going to say that's hidden, and overflow Y is hidden as well. I may give you that code. I mean, I'm giving it to you right here, but what that will do is that will make it so instead of having this huge scroll bar, it eliminates the scroll bar, and we can just have this here. Now, come back to art.css, color transparent. At this point, this video is long enough, so I've just made a starry night. I definitely will continue to make this a better project, probably in person. This in and of itself isn't quite enough, but as you can see, I am starting to make a piece of artwork. I'd like to maybe build a tree and maybe even a little werewolf or something. All the things that I gave you, definitely feel free if you come to Philly Computer Science and you say view page source. If you wanted to look at the cartoon cats CSS, you can come here and you can see everything that was done here. And there will be a learning process as we go through here. So you will learn a couple more tools. I'm just giving you the very basics to start. You can definitely ask in class, like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I'll be happy to share those ideas with you. Thank you. Good luck. I hope this is a fun and exciting activity that we'll be working on.